Did you know that you could take a half a sheet of designer series paper and create 3 beautiful cards out of it? I would love to show you how. Hey everyone, I'm Terry from nutsaboutsstamping.com. I love sharing project ideas and techniques for rubber stamping, paper crafting, and scrapbooking with you each week. Be sure to hit that red subscribe button and the bell beside it so that you'll be the first to be notified when my next video goes live. Be sure to watch all the way through my video as well for my bonus tips and design ideas. And if you don't have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator yet, I'd love you to choose me. Now, let's get crafting. If you know me at all, you will know that I love all things Asian. When I saw the Symbols of Fortune collection in the mini catalog, I just had to have it. And the designer series paper in this collection is what I'm going to be using today. Now, I don't have much of it left, but let's have a look at what I do have. I love the soft, soothing colors and patterns on one side, like this pattern here, and then the lovely gray tones and pops of gold foil on the reverse. Look at that, so pretty. The design colors are Basic Black, Calypso Coral, Crumb Cake, Evening Evergreen, Smoky Slate, and Soft Succulent. Again, very soft and soothing, but also with this gold foil, just makes it a standout. And the paper pairs perfectly with the Crane of Fortune bundle. So I'm actually going to start off using this bundle to create some elements that I'm going to use on my card. I'm going to stamp and die cut some elements for the card. So I'm going to start off with the Much Luck and Good Fortune stamp, and I'm going to ink it and stamp it down using Evening Evergreen. Next, I'm going to bring in the crane image, and I'm going to ink it and stamp it down using Crumb Cake. Crumb Cake is another one of the colors in the designer series paper. Actually, this is quite a large stamp, so I'm going to turn it over and ink it this way so that I know I have good coverage. And then I'll stamp it down. And then next, I'm going to stamp the Wishing a Lifetime of Happiness and a World Full of Love. This time I'm using Soft Succulent. And the final element I'm going to create is this phrase, and I'm going to ink it using Evening Evergreen as well and stamp it down like so. Now I'm going to do some die cutting. So I have my Stitched Rectangles dies, and I'm going to die cut that phrase, and I'm going to die cut this phrase, and then I'm going to use my Layering Circles framelits or Layering Circles dies to die cut that phrase. And then from the Good Fortune dies, I have the crane, so I'm going to die cut that out. And then finally, I have a scrap piece of Soft Succulent cardstock, and I'm going to die cut a layer for the circular phrase. So I will do all of this die cutting, and I'll be back in a moment. And there we go. We have all the pieces ready to go. I'm going to set them aside for a minute now, and let's take one of these 6 by 12 pieces of designer series paper and create these 3 beautiful cards. I'm going to start off by bringing in my Simply Scored, and I want to lay my designer series paper along the 12-inch side, and I'm going to score it at 4 and 8 inches. Then I'm going to turn it, and I'm going to score along the 1/2 inch. So let's do it again. It's at 4 and 8, then turn it and score it at 1/2. That's all you need. You're simply scored 4. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring in my bone folder and I'm going to burnish my fold lines like so. And then I'm going to fold this up and burnish it as well. This is the 1/2 inch. And then what I'm going to do is bring in my paper cutter and we're going to do just 2 simple cuts. All right, so I'm going to lay my designer series paper down on my paper cutter and I want to cut from this point, which is the one of the score lines at the top, to the bottom here where this score line ends. I will do the cut and then it might help me to show you what I mean. So I'm starting at the top and I'm going to cut diagonally down. So there we go at the top and then diagonally down, but not to the bottom of this paper. I want to cut to where the score line ends. And then I've got this triangular piece of paper that I'm going to use in a minute. And I'm going to do the same on the other side. I'm going to start at the score line top and I'm going to end down at the score line bottom. Again, on an angle, like so. So then I've got these 2 pieces, or this piece. So I've got this piece, and I've got these 2 pieces. I'm going to set these aside for a minute, and we're going to work with this piece next. So essentially, when I fold this up and fold these in, it's going to create a pocket. So this is going to be a pocket card, but I don't need all this bulk at the bottom. So I'm going to bring in my paper snips and I am going to snip up here and I'm going to snip up here. And then I'm going to keep this piece, but I want to cut these 2 pieces off. So I will do that. I'm not good at cutting with paper snips on camera. I'll do that and I'll be back in a moment. There we go. I've cut off those bottom 2 pieces. And what I want to do now is I want to seal this closed. And I'm going to do so by using some tear and tape adhesive. So I'm going to start with a piece of tear and tape adhesive here. What I don't want to do is I don't want to seal this tab down because it's going to stop my pocket layer, which I'll show you in a minute, from sliding smoothly inside. And then what I'm going to do is, I think maybe I want this, no, I think I want this piece on top. So I'm going to now add another piece of tear and tape here. Not sure what happened to my adhesive here, but let's try it anyway. Like so. Okay, and then I'll tear off the covering. And then I'm going to lay this piece down. I want it to be nice and even with the bottom. And then I will take off this piece and I'm going to do the same thing like so. And there we go. We have a beautiful pocket. And now let's work on an insert. What I'm going to do for my insert is I'm going to take a piece of basic white and I'm going to adhere it down to a piece of soft succulent. And I'll do that using my Stampin' Seal. Okay, there we go. The next thing I want to do is I want to bring in that crane that we die cut a few minutes ago. And I'm going to use my multi-purpose liquid glue and I'm going to adhere the crane down onto this layer. And finally, I have this phrase here, and I'm going to put some mini Stampin' Dimensionals on the back, and I'm going to add that to the bottom part of my card insert. And then what I want to do is take this layer and I want to slide it inside my pocket like so, and you can't even see the little surprise that's inside, which is the phrase and the crane. It's hidden from sight. Now I'm going to take this phrase and its accompanying layer, and I'm going to adhere it down like so. And then I am going to attach it to the front of my pocket. Now, before I adhere my phrase to the pocket, I'm going to add a layer of the soft succulent ribbon. I think it just adds a touch of beauty to this project. So I'm going to wrap this around and stick it down like so. And then this piece I will add on top like so, and then I will add my phrase. Okay, it's coming along nicely. Now I want to add a couple of embellishments. I have these in color jewels, and I am going to put one of the larger ones here at the top and a large one underneath like so, just to add a special little touch of sparkle. Now, one other tip that I can give you is that if you have a one-hole punch or a single hole punch, you can punch a hole at the top of this pocket and then add another piece of the ribbon so that whoever gets this card can pull it out by pulling up on the ribbon. I don't have a one-hole punch just yet, so when I do get one, that's what I plan on doing. So that's one card that we have made using the Designer Series paper, that being the pocket card that has more of a wedding theme to it. Now let me show you what I did with the other two pieces that were left over. These two pieces here. Here's the first card that I created. I took the triangle of the Designer Series paper and I added it to a card base of Evening Evergreen. I used the same phrase. I used one of the different colored jewels from the In Color Jewels pack. And then this little embellishment is part of the Good Fortune dies. So I die cut that out of Calypso Coral, which is one of the colors in the Designer Series paper, and I created this card here. Then for my second card, I decided that instead of using this side of the Designer Series paper, I would use the back side of the Designer Series paper, and I created this card as well. What I did was layered the Designer Series paper onto basic white cardstock that I actually embossed first. I created this phrase and layered it onto Smoky Slate, again, one of the colors in the Designer Series paper. And then this beautiful embellishment is also part of the Good Fortunes dies. So I die cut that out of a piece of brushed metallic cardstock and adhered that down, then the strip, then my phrase, and I added this cute little brushed brass butterfly to finish off the card. So, isn't it amazing what you can create using a half sheet of Designer Series paper? Now keep in mind, you have the second half left over, so you can go ahead and copy this idea and create 6 cards out of one sheet of Designer Series paper. I would love to know which card you love best, the pocket card, the brass, I guess, cardstock card, or the Evening Evergreen card. Would you like to see another project using this collection of products? If so, why not watch this video next? I'll leave a link to my blog article in the description box under this video so that you can link over for a complete listing of supplies, measurements, and product ordering numbers for the Symbols of Fortune collection. I'm Terry. I'm nuts about stamping. I hope you'll try this 3 cards idea someday soon. Bye for now.